It's KP&AC, our takes is like crazy. Hot takes on the daily, we might take your lady. This flow goes bananas, bananas got boatloads. Big time, we go hard like this promo.
Hey, welcome back. Another episode, KP&AC Media. Coming today with some NBA news. We're going to be shooting out some NBA picks for you tonight, and we're going to start talking more NBA as we get going here closer to the playoffs. AC, what's happening?
And it's all good up here, baby. It's all good. Playoffs, man, coming right up for NBA. I'm pretty excited about that, so we'll get into that.
Yeah, definitely be something we talk about a lot more. And before we begin, make sure you smash that like and subscribe below. We're going to be bringing you some more content, and we really appreciate getting those followers and getting the subscribers up. So thank you for that. We're just going to dive right into. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 games tonight. So we're going to just make our picks on who we think is going to win. We'll start right off with our team, the Cavs versus the Wizards. I kind of did this one first because I want to get this out the way. I got the Cavs losing to here tonight. I mean, the Wizards are playing without Bradley Beal, but the Cavs are just falling apart this year. Colin Sexton's a good player. They got Darius Garland, who's been banged up, but I like the Wizards here. I really do like what Russell Westbrook brings. I think he is just a leader. I think that, he just carries teams and just puts teams on his back and leads them to victories. And they always seem to overachieve when he's the leader. So what you got, AC?
Yeah, I'm with you, man. I mean, he's on this triple-double tear, He's just trying to add to his record now. So I'm looking for that again, him being that dude. I think that's a triple-double just waiting to happen. Washington wins this one easy. Wizards are in that spot where they're still fighting. Cavs aren't. Cavs losers the last 12. Looking for that lottery spot, really. So, yeah, I'm thinking blowout here.
Yeah. I don't even think I don't think it should be much of a game, coming down, like you said. Wizards are still fighting. Cavs, Cavs fighting to get the lottery spot, the opposite of fighting to get in the playoffs. So, yeah, I'm not a big believer in the Cavs this year. I think they got a couple more years. We'll talk a little bit more about them being our hometown team. But, there's not much to talk about this year. But, as time rolls on, we'll talk about them, but not right now.
Yeah, I seen Kevin Love woke up for a game there last game. He had like 30 points. He had a beastly game, but that's been few and far between for him. So, yeah, man, I think we're both in agreement here. Washington wins this one pretty easily.
Yeah. I think Kevin Love will give you a good game here and there, but it's about time for them to move on from him. At some point, they got to trade him. Get him out of here.
Get him out of here.
All right. So next here we got we're gonna go. Let's go Utah Jazz and the Oklahoma City Thunder. Why don't you start off here? What you got?
Yeah, so I got Utah in another easy one, and most of these games they're just blowouts. It seems to me. I mean, most of them are like 10-point spreads. Jazz first place, 50-20 basically. They go against the Thunder, who are just terrible. Jazz have already won both meetings between these two. They got the Lakers lurking there in that 6-7 spot, so I don't think they're trying to fall back. And it seems like every team's dealing with injuries. I know Mike Conley's a game time decision, but this is just a game where the spread's 14.5, I think, and that's probably a good number. I just see Utah crushing Oklahoma City in this game.
Yeah, it does look like Conley's going to be game time. He's got a hamstring, and hamstring injuries are real funny. They sometimes you think it's okay, then you go out for warm-ups and it just bothers you. I mean, that's like that's probably the hardest injury to have to decide whether you're going to play or not, because sometimes you think it's good and then it's not. Sometimes you can have a hamstring injury last a week or it can last months. I mean, it's tough with the hammy. So
you're right.
They do have Donovan Mitchell out. He's out. They're hoping to get him back for the playoffs. But, I don't know if you took a look at the Thunder roster yet. And I want to talk about them later. But it's literally the worst roster I've ever seen in the NBA.
It's
I
bad.
mean, they
It's
are
really bad.
absolute. I mean, boo to that roster. I mean, they've done a terrible job ever since Russell Westbrook left. I mean, it's just been a disaster there in Oklahoma City. So they got a long ways to go.
They got a decade to go.
Yeah, they got a long ways to go because nobody. The problem's going to be there. When they had Durant and Westbrook, and even James Harden for a little time. It's like people wanted to go play there. Now you're not going to want anybody to go play in Oklahoma City. So
Right.
they're gonna have a tough time. But I'm with you, by the way, to give my pick. I like the Jazz. Jordan Clarkson, I think, has been playing real well. He's averaging 35 over his last 2 games. He's had 2 monster games.
Yep.
So I like him. He was with the Cavs for a little bit. We know he gets buckets. I mean, he gets buckets. He doesn't do much else, but he gets buckets. So
You can score with the best of them.
yeah, he can score. Moving right along here, we got Toronto Raptors, Dallas Mavericks. I'll go here and just say again, I like the Mavs big here. I just think the Raptors. Nobody knows what's going on with their team. They sat out their entire roster the other day. They sat out Lowry, Van Vliet, and Siakam. It's just, and Porzingis just came back for the Mavs. He had a pretty decent game, his first game back after missing 7. So I like the Mavs here pretty big. I think the Raptors, to go along with what we're talking about, is probably the most underachieved team this year. I mean, they got 3 good players. I mean, Lowry, Van Vliet, and Siakam are all good players in the NBA, and they just underachieved like crazy in the East. So I'm not a big fan of them this year. I like the Mavs big. I think that the Mavs going into playoff time, it's going to hurt them not having JJ Redick. But hopefully he can get back for the playoffs, they say. He was definitely out for the regular season. But I think that's a big piece for them. So it doesn't seem like it is, but he's one of those X Factor guys. He's not a superstar, but, he spreads the floor, and he does exactly what the Mavs really like to do, and that's shoot the 3. They run that 5-out spread offense that I'm a really big fan of.
Right.
So he fits right into that offense that they run. So we'll see if they get him back. But I like the Mavs here pretty big.
Yeah, the Mavs have something to play for. They're in that 6th seed. They're not looking to fall back and play in that play-in. So, yeah, I'm with you on this one. Dallas dominates this game. Toronto just played last night, so this is just one where I think Toronto isn't even going to try to win. Dallas is just an easy one for them, and I'm with you, man.
Yeah, it's an easy pick. That's an easy pick there.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I feel like 90% of these games are like easy picks, but there'll be 1 or 2 that surprise us, obviously. But yeah, this just isn't a good slate of basketball.
No, it's not. And what's funny is we did our picks the other day off the air. We tried to do it, and we tried, and we didn't get it out. But I looked, and I think we were like 7 for 7. I mean, I think we picked all the games right, and a lot of them were like this. But there was a couple like underdog picks we made, and we weren't unfortunately able to get that video out because of the quality. But
yeah,
the Warriors,
the Golden State, right?
Yeah, like a lot of people probably wouldn't have picked them, but we picked them. But anyway, it is what it is. But no, you're right. It is. Most of these are. There's a couple of them here that like the Pelicans, Warriors. We'll get to here in a second. But most of these are. A lot of these are chalk. But it's good to give. It's good to give our insight on what we think the teams are doing right now too. So
right.
But let's go on here. We got the Kings and the Grizzlies. Sacramento Kings, Memphis Grizzlies. Who you got?
So I got Memphis. I mean, these teams just played last night. Memphis won 116-110. Grizzlies hold same record as the Warriors, so they're positioned for that 8th seed. And the Kings are just garbage. So I mean, there's really nothing more you need to say about it.
I got something for you. Down the toilet, man. They're garbage.
I mean, 31 and 39, I think, and they're hurting. And I don't think Luke Walton's a great coach, to be honest with you. I mean, I know he did his thing with the Warriors, right? But like, it's just not working out for him. And maybe he's just meant to be an assistant coach, But this team doesn't have a ton of talent, but who knows? So this is an easy one for me. I think Memphis wins this one pretty easily. Although the spread's not that bad, it's only 5.5. So Well, I just don't think it'll be that close of a game.
Yeah, yeah. I like the Grizzlies too. And like you said, it was a close game the other day, but I think with them still competing for that 8 seed, I think is what gives the Grizzlies the edge here. John Morant, absolute beast. They got a couple other pieces that have worked out pretty well. Dylan Brooks is a pretty good player. And then I agree with you on Luke Walton. I think in the NBA, it's real hard to get the respect of all these guys. And I don't know how many people really respect him as a head coach in the NBA. Like college, you can get the respect of the players, and and I think with the Warriors, it's like we talked about, like those guys were coaching themselves. I mean, anybody could go coach those guys. So
right, exactly. Well, J. Cole, by the way, he dropped his new album today. He's got a nice little John Morant line in there, so it's just a little something for him.
Yeah, he had J. Cole put out a nice little he had a nice freestyle the other day too. He dropped a new freestyle.
I did hear that. It was amazing.
Hey, you know what though? A lot of people don't know this. J. Cole's a baller too. He can play some basketball.
He's playing. He's going to play next year, like professionally out in Africa, I think somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I watched him like shoot around and play before, and I mean, he's legit. I mean, he's an actual really good basketball player. He's probably the best player out of all those like rappers that don't really, that aren't playing professionally right now. Like he's at that top tier.
Who was that like 10, 15 years ago? I want to say like Master P or someone.
Master P. Percy Miller.
Yeah, he was trying out for maybe like
Toronto, I think it was.
Was it? Okay.
He dropped 8 points for Toronto, and I think it was like a preseason game. He was playing with them. He dropped like 8 points. He used to shoot, and his shot would almost hit the top of the ceiling. It almost hit the rafters when he would shoot. So, but he made a couple of them. But but he was one. He was one of the guys that was real good.
Yeah, I remember that. That's funny, man.
Yeah, it'll be cool to follow along because J. Cole, I mean, he is like, I think he's 34, 33, 34. So, he's got a couple years. But
he's my favorite out there right now, though. So I've got a lot of respect for him. I know we're not talking hip-hop right now, but we will soon.
Yeah, no, but it's good to throw that stuff out there. A lot of people, I think, are J. Cole fans. So, no, he's very talented. So, at basketball and in the hip-hop game. Let's go on here to the Nuggets and the Pistons. I got the Nuggets here again, big. This is the Pistons roster is another team that you can just flush them out. I mean, garbage. And their roster is just terrible. You got Joker's an MVP candidate. I really like what Michael Porter Jr. is doing in the number 2 role with them. With Jamal Murray out, I really like Michael Porter Jr. He's had some really good games. He's kind of taken that next step this year that they were hoping for him to take.
Right.
And then again, the Pistons are just doo-doo. So, it's like you can't really pick them in this game. So what do you got? I'm sure you got the Nuggets, but, go ahead and tell us why.
Yeah, I got the Nuggets for all the same reasons you just mentioned. And they're just too much size for them, for the Pistons. They got JaVale McGee. And then the Joker, it's just too much size for him. And I mean, with Jamal out, they're not like a championship roster anymore. Like they're probably going to get bumped out in the second round, I think. But like, you just got that. This is going to be another easy win, I think. And plus, I think the Pistons have like 7 or 8 players that are out. So it's just, I don't think they're ready for it. That's just going to be a game off for the Pistons. Easy win for Denver.
Yeah, not much to really talk about there, but I agree with you as well about in the playoffs. I think without Jamal Murray, I don't think they can make that real run that they made last year. And we got the Orlando Magic and the 76ers, and again, it's just another chalk game for me. I feel like, I mean, I got the 76ers easy. Joel Embiid is another MVP candidate. I like the 76ers. They're a tough team. I just think that the Magic is just from top to bottom. I mean, just doo-doo. You know what I mean? It's like
another blowout.
It's just another blowout. I don't see anything happening here. I don't see any magic happening here. So they say. I like the 76ers. I mean, again, it's not a whole lot to say here. Bad roster, bad team in Orlando, 76ers at the top of the East. So I like them here.
Right, I got you here too, man. And 13.5 point spread. That's probably a decent spread. Yeah, Philly wins this one easy. Philly's sitting atop the Eastern Conference. They're not looking to give it up. Got a couple games left, 8-2 in their last 10. So yeah, just an easy win for them. They might even be resting guys by the second half.
Yeah, yeah. Real quick too, to change because none of these games are on the list. I wanted to throw out there too. Did you happen to see Udonis Haslam returned last night?
Yeah,
And
just
he
to get
got in.
thrown out.
Yeah, he got in, gets in for 3 minutes and puts his finger in Dwight Howard's face and gets thrown out of the game. So
Yeah,
it's,
he's good for that. That might be his last game though. Like that's a good way to go out, get thrown out. Good for
yeah,
him.
it's just like a lot of guys would be like excited to get back in, like, all right, let's go play. And he's ready to get back in there and start rumbling. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
but Dwight Howard gets under people's skin too. So you know he's known for that. But what are you going to do? I mean, like you said, it Haslam's about time for him to hang him up anyway. So.
Oh yeah. He's definitely. I think he's the oldest dude in the NBA, I believe. So yeah, it's time.
Yeah, yeah. All right, just wanted to throw that one out there. And then we got two more games here. We got the Clippers and the Rockets. What do you got here?
This is another one. I don't even think we need to talk about it. Like Clippers for me. The only thing here is I'm seeing that it's possible that the Clippers sit like their big three. I think some of their superstars might be sitting this one out. So I'm not really sure what happens there. That could make it a closer game. If those three do play, like obviously this is a big win. Houston's just another team that you can flush down the toilet. Yeah.
Will do.
Yeah. So I think they're like, I don't even know what their record is, 16-54 or some shit. It's bad. It's really bad. So yeah, easy win for the Clippers. Even if they sit their guys, they could sit their whole team. I think they win this one.
Yeah, that's it. I was going to jump in and say, but I wanted you to finish. I was going to say I don't really think it matters who they sit. They could sit a bunch of guys and still roll over the Rockets. Their team's awful. They lose Harden and Westbrook, so they lose both of those guys. And since then, their team's just went downhill. And again, it's probably going to be a while before they get back up. I mean, once these teams lose these superstars, we know the NBA is all about the players. I think the Clippers are a lot of teams picking the West to roll to the finals. I mean, I think they're going to be up there. I think they're going to be up there. And, my pick is if the Lakers can get healthy, I still think the Lakers have a real good shot, with LeBron and AD and those guys. So I think those two teams could easily still be there at the end. But again, the Lakers got to get healthy. Clippers are playing together. Clippers are playing good basketball right now. So,
yeah, I don't think the Lakers want to see the Clippers in that first round though. Like I honestly,
right.
I don't think they're going to want that 6th seed. I think they'd be more than happy to play it in the play in and end up with somebody else like the Jazz or the Suns. And I think they play the Clippers first round. Lakers lose that one. They're just not. They need some time to gel. Assuming they're both healthy, AD and LeBron. They just need time to gel, and they have not had that. And I don't see them. They're gonna need a series or two before they get to the Clippers to really get that going. So it'll be interesting. But yeah, that'd probably be my pick too, man. The Clippers. But yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah. I definitely agree. I don't think they want to play the Clippers in the first round. The Suns or Jazz are a much more wanted matchup for the Lakers. They'd like to see the Clippers, later on as they get healthy. If they can get in and get into a rhythm in the playoffs, I think the Lakers could make a real run. So
absolutely,
we'll see what happens. We got the Pelicans and the Warriors here. What do you got?
So I got Warriors winners the last 4. I got the Warriors winning this one. They're just hot, particularly Steph Curry. I mean, he's just hitting threes with his eyes shut at this point. They're holding on to the 8th spot in the West. Looks like they'll be in the play-in regardless, but it's just one of those games. This one's actually the spread's only 2. They're giving Golden State 2 here. So this appears to be what will be, the best game on the slate as far as competition wise goes. But I got Golden State here. They're just too hot right now, and I actually think this one is going to go well over. It'll be a high scoring game, but I think Warriors probably win by close to 10.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think high scoring game, definitely. I got the Warriors as well. And Zion, he's out for a while, so that really hurts the Pelicans, obviously. And that's,
Mm-hmm.
if he was playing, that could make a difference here. And Andrew Wiggins has been playing really well lately, and he's one of those guys where you just never know what you're going to get from him. He kind of reminds me a little bit of an AD, it's like AD will go off for 45, 12 and 8, and then he'll just disappear, and that just kind of seems like what Wiggins does. Andrew Wiggins, he can have a really big game, and then he has like a real bad game, maybe 2 or 3. And then he'll have another really big game. So it's tough. You never know what you're going to get out of Andrew Wiggins. But right now he's playing well. I think if they can rally behind Steph, which they've been doing, I think that they'll be fine. Right now, I think, like you said, they're hot, and I think they roll over the Pelicans.
Yeah, Wiggins just a super athlete, but he's never been able to put it all together. That's honestly been his issue throughout his career. I remember him coming out of Canada. They were calling him the next LeBron and all this shit. And super athlete, but just never got it all together.
Yeah, I remember when he came out when he was at Kansas too, that they used to say they just never knew if he had that like dog in him. I
Right.
remember that used to be the big thing. And that's shown to be true. I mean, he doesn't. I mean, he hasn't shown that yet at all. And yeah, he's been on some teams that weren't that good, but he that Minnesota team that they had was pretty talented with him, Carl Anthony Towns and those boys. I mean, that was a good team, and you never really, again, you get a real good game out of him than not. And that inconsistency is what hurt him. And I compare him to AD, but at least AD last year with the Lakers and their playoff run, he started consistently putting together the good games, when they really
Oh
needed
yeah,
it.
yeah. If AD's healthy, he'll. I mean, even if he's not playing well, he's still one of the top three, big men in the league. And then when he is playing well, he's arguably the best. Right there with Embiid, and Joker's making a move up now. But yeah, so I agree.
Yeah, definitely. And then let's talk here. I was just going to say real quick, we've mentioned them all before, but the Rockets, Pistons, and Thunder, I think, are just all teams that are just really falling apart. Very disappointing this year. Real tough, They traded for, the Rockets traded John Wall for Westbrook, which looked like it was okay at the time because you knew Westbrook wasn't going to want to stay there.
Right.
But Wall's dealt with some injuries, and the Rockets roster just hasn't really been put together since. So they're on the downfall right now. And then, the Pistons and Thunder, like we said. But, I wanted to say something too, because Russell Westbrook, he's probably one of my top 2 players in the league. Him and Luka. I think I've told you that before.
Are you
Off
saying
air.
your favorite, or like as far as talent? What are you saying?
I'm saying Russell Westbrook is one of my favorite players to watch, I would
Okay.
say. So him and Luca are my top 2. Those guys, to me, I just really enjoy watching them, how they play. And obviously Westbrook, it's because of that fierce, that attitude he has, that toughness he brings, and how that ferociousness he brings to both ends of the floor. He always is looking to get every rebound. I mean, he plays with so much energy, and I just really enjoy that. But again, the reason I mention that is because you look at the teams, look at the Thunder and the Rockets, what happened after they lose him. He gets a bad rap sometimes, what happened with the Thunder and KD and all that. But
Right.
I mean, if you look at what he did with that Thunder team after KD left, and he had the triple double year, as everybody knows, and MVP years. He's a beast, but he gets a bad rap sometimes. I think one guy, Colin Coward, gives him a lot of shit, but
Yeah. I mean, that's his knock is that he can stuff a stat sheet, but he can't he doesn't have whatever those intangibles are that pushes a team into winning. He doesn't necessarily have, and it seems you're right. I mean, he's nonstop. He's hustle. It's just little things. I think it just as a point guard setting up your team for success. And maybe he's not been the best for that. Because he can be a little selfish. We've seen that when he played with KD. And he averaged more shots that year than KD did, which is just crazy. But yeah, he's going to be one of those dudes at the end of his career that are like, when you ask that question, like, who's the best that ever played that didn't win a championship. Like I think maybe he'll get lucky, maybe he'll get on a team, where they're great and they win, but he's definitely going to be up there with one of those, like those Charles Barkley type names where it's like, yeah, dude, this dude was a monster, but couldn't get it done. That's where I see him.
Yeah, and you're right about he did have the selfishness a little bit with KD because he always did take more shots than KD. But I still think that I think that as a teammate, everybody loves playing with him. I mean, you interview guys like Enes Kanter and guys like that have always said they just love playing Westbrook. They think he's got a great attitude, good teammate. And again, he can be selfish sometimes, but he also averages over 10 assists. So it's like he's just one of those guys. He's a playmaker to me, and he's got to have the ball in his hands. And I think he does bring the winning. I just think that it's hard to. I think you got to have three nowadays. Like, I mean, you really got to have three superstars. I mean, it's just what it looks like. I mean, with LeBron and AD got it done last year. So if you have two of the top, 3 to 5 guys in the league, and then you have good surrounding.
Decent bench.
Yeah, you could. Right, exactly. And that's the thing that's the most underrated part you just mentioned. That's a great point, is the defense too. If you can play defense when it comes to playoff time, I mean, that's a big difference too, because, a lot of these teams, when you don't play defense throughout the whole regular season and then it comes playoff time, and the defense gets better. But the problem is, if you haven't been teaching defense all year, that's a big issue. And that was the other good part with the Clippers last year, was I think their defense was okay, but I think their offense started to fall apart. They didn't know how to handle it. And Paul George was very disappointing in the playoffs last year. So
yeah, the Clippers just weren't ready for the bubble. I mean, that's all it came down to. It sounded like they didn't even want to be there, and then I don't know what happened to that Clippers team. I mean, I'm glad, because I wanted the Lakers to win that series, and it didn't even come to be because they lost. The Clippers lost before they got to the Lakers. But yeah, I think this year is just a different year. I would bet on the Clippers right now if I had to. But healthy Lakers, you don't know. I mean, with the defense, the Lakers have the best defense, I think, in the league, especially when healthy. And that's big come playoff time.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think a lot of these teams too. I think it's just going to depend on who can get healthy. A lot of injuries out there right now. The Jazz are a tough team, but they're dealing with some big injuries.
Yeah, the West is beat up, man. The West is beat up.
Yeah, let me ask you this: you think the Suns can make a run with Chris Paul and all those boys?
I think they can make a run. Yeah, I mean, it depends. Where they're. It just depends on who they're playing, But yeah, I see them. I don't think they can beat a healthy Lakers. I don't think they can beat a healthy Clippers. Other than that, I think they could go as far as they need to. So they kind of got to escape playing them in that second round. Then yeah, I could see them getting to the Western Conference Finals. But I think that at whatever point they play one of those two teams, it's probably donuts for them.
Yeah. I think it's pretty. I think that it's definitely the top two are going to be the two teams out in LA. And then you have that like second tier with, you got the Suns, Jazz, and Nuggets and Mavs even that could all make a decent run.
I could see the Mavs making a run. Yeah, the Jazz and Nuggets, just with their injuries to their best players. It's gonna be crazy. It always is, though.
Yeah, and I think too, this is another one of those years. They're not in the bubble anymore. But if they start getting into these home games where there's still not much fans, it's still not feeling like a home game, and it's not feeling like home court advantage is a big deal. You could get some teams that make some runs again, like last year with the Nuggets. So
yep, you're right. You're absolutely right. And we just got that news yesterday with the CDC coming out and saying, we don't need our masks if we're vaccinated. And so I was already out today. I didn't take my mask. I don't know when that's actually implemented, but I was like, bro, I'm not wearing it. So it felt good, man.
Yeah, I read DeWine. DeWine's going to go ahead and start everything the first week of June, I think, for you guys up there.
Yeah. June 2nd, he's saying, regardless, like you just don't need it. So I'm excited.
Yeah. So we'll definitely be talking some more NBA as the playoffs get closer. So leave some comments below and we'll respond to those comments and drop a subscribe. For now, I'm going to let Tony go ahead and take us out with his song. All right. Everyone, tune in next time.
Later.
It's KP&AC, our takes is like crazy. Hot takes on the daily, we might take your lady. This flow goes bananas, bananas got boatloads. Big time, we go. Hard like this promo. Karate kick, I'm Jet Li. One hand on that jet ski. Ice cold like Pepsi. You damn right, we sexy. Opinions with no pity. In our bag with so many. Smart and so witty. Got the swag of the city. Sports talk that talk. Best check your wall clock. We on time, every time. Got it all like Walmart. Aw shit, we might blow. Don't you know it's time to go? KP&AC, welcome to our show.